boy.
If I'm honest, and that's my boy and everything, I probably did twice as much as he did that night. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he knew his pace, he knew his rhythm, and he maintained. He showed
Mm-hmm.
himself to be very strong and courageous, and fought through everything I was bringing. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, he won the fight. But man, when I look at the highlights of that fight,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, wow, wow. I
Yeah.
can't believe I made it through that. And then did it a couple of other times, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And then
Mm-hmm.
did it a couple other times. I think maybe if I had to pick a favorite,
Mm-hmm.
it would be between that fight, and it would be between Keith Thurman and Errol Spence Jr.
I figured it with those two. Which
Yeah.
fight you don't want to ever watch again that you was in?
It's probably the last one. It's probably the last one.
And that leads to this question, Shawn. Do you feel though that you were 100% mentally and physically ready for that fight?
Oh, absolutely, man. I think that those are roads that have been crossed quite a few times since the fight.
Mm-hmm.
My dad and I, we've talked about that,
Mm-hmm.
and the way I explained it to him, I said, Dad, you chose to tell people that I wasn't prepared for that fight, and that I
Mm-hmm.
did not prepare for that fight. I said, but
Mm-hmm.
when we were training at the end of this camp, just like any other camp, we looked at the numbers, and
Mm-hmm.
numbers don't lie, Dad. My
Mm-hmm.
heartbeat, my heart rate was the way it always is. My
Mm-hmm.
my breathing was the way it always is. I was able to get around the track and do this and do that. You
Mm-hmm.
can't say that I didn't prepare for the fight, you know. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think we do still have objective opinions about that. Uh, but nonetheless, man, I think that fight will show it'll show up at some point in my life, and maybe it'll show up to everyone else, why that fight ended up being the way that it was, why it
Mm-hmm.
went the way that it did. The list goes on. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, I can't help but promote the fact that I have done a watch back on that fight
So
with
you
me
have
comment
watched it now.
just one time.
Yeah, because I knew you at one time you had not watched it yet.
Yeah, and I've watched Errol Spence a total of one time.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Keith Thurman once. I've never watched my fight with Danny Garcia. I've never watched my fight with Ugas. I've never watched my fight with I have watched my fight with Paulie, but that's a short fight. So, but
Yo,
I would
you just
say,
manhandled Paulie in that fight. I was
yeah,
there. I was there for that one, man, and
yeah.
you
Oh
manhandled the
wow,
hell out of him, man.
yeah,
That
man,
was
that was
I felt sorry for Paulie that night, man.